Hello, and welcome to the Moose Hunt Podcast. I'm your host, Rob Fickett, and today we're at the 2025 State of Maine Sportsman Show in Augusta, Maine. We got a little podcast studio set up here in one of the rooms, and we figured we'd fire up a podcast and see what's going on. So, like I said, we got myself, we got our dear friend and great gentleman, Mr. Ken Mayo, and we got new to the podcast, just somebody that was hanging around, Jake Haskell. You guys might have seen him from the Pursuit Hunt. He's got some videos on YouTube and stuff. And so yeah, we're just gonna talk, no agenda. Just he does some camera stuff. We're gonna see what some stuff he likes to take to the woods, what he likes to forget, and
forget a lot.
And pretty
more
much, he had a moose hunt last year that he released a film for, and it was I thought it was pretty decent. It was good. So
great. Awesome.
Yeah, maybe we'll go into that for who hasn't watched it yet. And there's always stuff that doesn't end up in a video, so we can go into some behind the scenes stuff. Yeah. So yeah, how you doing today, man?
Great. Yeah, the show is awesome.
Yeah.
Been here all weekend, just kind of helping out where I can and talking to vendors, talking to you guys.
Yeah, right on.
Just hanging out, making connections.
Yep.
Yeah, it's always a good time here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like-minded people.
Oh, yeah. And it's great. Like we were talking with somebody earlier that it's good to see like a bunch of the kids here running around and stuff.
Yeah, and I want even more too. Like I'm trying to get more involved too, to get more younger people involved with the show, and so I think that'd be awesome.
It seems like it is almost kind of like a dying sport.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, so it's like we got to keep them going.
Yeah, and it all depends too. Like some of the industry is almost growing with younger people, and then some is dying. And a lot of times it ends up being like Maine's tough. I feel like it's dying in some ways, but I would love to be able to get more young people involved and show them what it's all about, because I mean I have a blast doing it.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sure as you guys know, like there's a lot of fun things out there that are being involved with the outdoors and hunting, and so I think just promoting that is a big deal.
Yeah, 100% on that. Yeah, it's great seeing the kids out there. They got a nice little kids zone over there.
Yeah, you said they got archery upstairs.
Yeah, archery upstairs. So the kids were shooting and some face painting. But yeah, it's great to see everybody out here. Always a good time. See cabin reliever here. You know,
yeah. Start of the season. We'll be rolling into shed season here any week now.
I hope. There's these stores.
Yeah, you were just up. You were what, up by Allagash or whatever last week?
Yep, I was up there for a trip, and I found my first moose shed.
Nice.
Awesome.
So
was it a road shed?
Awesome. Trails.
Yeah.
But it was cool because like it probably came off like a 35, 40-inch bull, and all you could see was the tip sticking out of the snow. So you had no idea what size it was, as you guys know, and so pulling it out of the ground, it was really cool to see how big it was.
Awesome.
But yeah, that was awesome. It was a good time up there. There was hardly any snow left though.
Yeah.
So a lot of our riding was on. It was safe but sketchy. But the trails, like a lot of them were just gravel.
Right back to the road.
So destroying the sleds and carbides and it was.
How much is that shed worth, right?
Right now, probably quite expensive.
Found a little fork horn that'd been ran over by a number of sleds too. But I'm thinking about taking the base of it and making it into like a knife
that'd be
handle
awesome.
or something.
Yeah.
So that was cool, but I don't really get up that way too often. I'm from southern Maine, so moose shed hunting's not really a typical thing that I do. But after finding that shed, I don't want to go back up there.
Yeah, they're just so much bigger than deer. Well, except for some of those that are at the mastic table. Those
exactly. There's some big sheds going around the show this weekend. But that was super cool.
Yeah.
But nice. Yeah, so the ice. It was good, but there was like a foot layer of slush. So you break through, you think you're about to sink, but it's actually just going through that layer of slush. And
anybody get their sled stuck on the ice?
No one in the ice. We had some eventful times crossing creeks. But yeah, it was a good time.
That's awesome.
I love getting up there, getting away from service.
That's the best part.
The
about
real
going
world.
out there.
It was great.
Even if I randomly get service somewhere, I never respond to anybody because when I leave, I mean, it's horrible because I kind of do it to my wife, but she won't watch this, so it's okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going north for a week, so it's like I won't talk to anybody until we get done hunting for the day.
Yeah. No, it was crazy though because with that new satellite feature on the new iPhones,
using for your iPhone.
It was in my pocket though, and we were out on the ice. It started vibrating, and I was getting text messages, so it connected to the satellite.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So then, like, I don't know if I was just
had that
turned like perfectly or something, and it caught signal. But that was pretty cool, like to have that ability, you know, in case of an emergency.
Oh yeah.
But like you said, it's like still don't want to.
It's like one of the whole reasons that you go up there is to get away, get secluded, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like it seems it's like going to keep getting harder and harder to get that seclusion, especially if they start doing that Starlink thing with phones.
Oh yeah.
It's
it'll get tough.
Yep.
But it was nice to get away and it's still. I mean, they're still working on that stuff. So hopefully there's still time before that.
And you filmed that whole trip, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So I was up there filming for that new group, the True North.
Yep.
I just went up with Lee Libby and filmed that trip. Met some other great guys up there who just hung out with at camp and went ice fishing and snowmobiling and. Luckily, got to ride his sled, so I didn't have to ride my own. Sorry, Lee.
So that's a great trip to use somebody else's sled.
Exactly. But no, it was a good time. And that's really what I love to do, the filming stuff, but mainly in the outdoors, filming.
Yeah. So like we said earlier, you had a moose tag last year, right?
Yes.
Was that your first one?
Yes. So the year before that, I was a sub-permittee for my dad.
Oh, okay. So you had been on a moose hunt before.
I'd been on a moose. I've actually been on a few moose hunts. So my cousin got drawn for a bull 4 years ago now. I went up with them to film it. And this was when I was just getting started with my filming and all that stuff. So I actually put the hunt on my channel like 4 years ago. And he shot a small bull. But it was a fun hunt and mostly road hunting. They were kind of into just riding around looking for moose. And then I filmed a cow hunt for a friend of mine. His son got drawn for a cow.
Way cool.
And we went up, spent the entire week in the Allagash hunting.
Nice.
He got one on the last day. It was a long shot too. Like this young kid, like a 300+ yard shot for this cow.
That's a good poke for a Maine moose hunt.
It was way up. She was way up this ridge in this clear cut, and he shot, and you could tell he hit her, and then he shot. I don't know if he hit her again, but then she ran into the woods, and we expected her to come out on like there just a bunch of slash cuts, and we moved over to the next one. And she never came out of there. So I walked up in there, and sure enough, she was laying dead there.
Awesome.
So he was stoked, and I filmed that entire hunt.
Yeah.
That was cool. And then being a sub-permittee for my dad, we spent a week in Zone 4.
Nice.
Couple close calls. I was still, of course, new to actually being the hunter. And so there were a lot of hunters up there. It was tough. We were crossing paths with a number of other moose hunters, and we saw a few bulls get dragged out of the woods, and we came close. But before, like those 3 hunts were the only moose hunts I'd been on before this past fall when I got drawn for that bull tag, and that was quite the hunt.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, it was a heck of a moose, too.
Yeah, it's nice.
What was it, 53?
52.
52?
Yep, and he had the double eye guards. Whatever you guys call them. I'm still new to the moose hunting world.
Eye guards, brows, fighting tines. There's all kinds of names.
But that was a super cool hunt. I wanted to do it different than the other ones I'd been on, where we were just kind of driving around on the roads, heater hunting. And so I was like, I got, of course, drawn back in June. And after that, man, I just started planning for it. I got all the gear I needed. And then I got a canvas tent so I could do that style of hunting. Like staying out in the woods, in the canvas tent, with just a wood stove. And brought a bunch of those dry peak refuels and my cameraman, who's a good friend of mine, Colby Kessler, he brought a bunch of like frozen meat to cook up. Great chef too. I didn't realize he was going to be camp chef.
Nice.
But
camp
no,
chef
so,
and camera guy.
Yeah,
wow.
I know, what a combo, right?
Hopefully you tipped him well.
So I did all this prep before the hunt and just wanted it to be more of like a backcountry, like hunting up in the hardwoods and trying to just get away from other hunters up there in zone 2. And then with scouting, I have a couple good friends up there who I drove around with in the summertime, and we went and looked for some moose sign and then put some cameras up and just kind of got acclimated to the area. Started to figure out where we wanted to put up base camp and hunt. So we did that leading up to the hunt, and then whatever week it was, I shouldn't get this, but it was the second season.
So October,
the October hunt. We got up there 3 days or 2 days before the hunt. So Saturday we got up there and set up camp. It was actually like, I think this made the video actually, but we had this plan to set up on like in this open cut, like right at the top, and so we could overlook this view and then see the sunrise. But on Saturday it was like blowing like 40 mile per hour gusts with a canvas tent that doesn't work out. So we tried for like, I don't know, probably a half an hour to set up this canvas tent. And then one good gust just took it and flipped it right over. And there were 3 of us just like trying to hold it down. One guy inside holding the...
Oh, man, classic.
Good time.
But so that didn't work out. So we had to move. We found a good spot that was, we had the woods around us, and so the wind couldn't get through. And it ended up being a great area to just get out and go hunt.
Nice.
So we set up there, got camp all set up, and it was cool. I'd never hunted out of a canvas tent before that. So that was really neat. Like being able to go back to camp in the evenings and get the wood stove going, and then it was just dried right up, and heat got all warmed up.
It's crazy
day
how hot those tents can get with just a little stove.
Oh it cooked us. We had to keep the doors open in the evenings. Or the flaps open in the evenings. But that was super cool. So Saturday we got up there, pretty much just got set up. We actually ran into some moose going into camp and just did some filming and some before the hunt, and then Sunday, same thing, did more scouting. Found a smaller bull and found a lot of good sign, but we found that smaller bull, and since it was the only one we saw, we decided that Monday morning we'd go and hunt that spot, just in case there was a bigger bull, or to at least maybe try and call that one in. I never called a bull in either, so I wanted to wanted to just try and do something like that. And so Sunday, we did all of that scouting, found that small bull, and then on Monday, we went back in first thing to that spot, and that small bull was being hunted by a couple other hunters too. As you see in the video, you could hear them calling up on the road, and we're like, we're getting ready to get in there quiet, like back in the woods, get set up, like parking the truck, leaving for the day, and then these people are just up on the dirt road up there with their e-call, just letting it blast, which is great. Like it works for a lot of people. It works out. And so that small bull ended up going over to those hunters, and they shot him. So we got out of there and like went and said congrats. Like we yelled down into the cut. They were down there with the bull, and it was this woman who shot him. So
that's awesome.
Super cool.
Nice.
But so that we of course had to make a new game plan for the rest of the day, and we ended up hunting right in front of camp. Like, we ended up hunting these hardwoods like all day long. It was pretty tough terrain.
Yeah.
It was thick too.
Oh,
so,
yeah. The maples can get pretty thick.
Yeah. Oh, they were thick. And so we ran into some moose, but we couldn't get a good shot at any of them. I wasn't able to identify if a couple we thought were bulls were actually bulls or decent bulls. So we did that all day Monday, and then we did that, and then Monday evening, it started to rain some, so we went and drove around to scout some other areas for Tuesday morning, and did some raking and just seeing if we could call a bull in. They weren't very responsive.
Last October was.
So this is great to hear. I just thought I was doing something wrong, but I've heard from everyone that they were quiet.
Yeah.
So then Tuesday morning, we ended up, and I'm diving right into this.
No, go for it, dude.
But Tuesday morning, we ended up calling off the top of this long road that was kind of off the beaten path. And we were just calling, hoping the sound would travel down this ridge and then echo off to hopefully a bull nearby. And we called for maybe an hour, didn't really get any response, didn't see any moose. And we actually had a hunter come up the road in their pickup truck and kind of blew that hunt. But
Did they pass your truck?
No, so they came from the other direction. So this road was like, it wasn't, there weren't many hunters going up and down it, but because it was washed out, like it was a tough drive in there. But we parked up at the top, and they came from the other way, came up towards us. So once we saw the pickup come around the corner, we started walking back to the truck.
Been there.
And those guys were super funny. We actually ran into them a number of times. Just some older guys who were out there doing the same thing we were, just different way. And so Tuesday, we spent most of the day doing the same thing we did on Monday, going through those same hardwoods, like hoping to run into one of the moose we saw the day before and see if we could get a better view of his rack or see if there was a bull back there. And we did once again run into a number of moose, which in the video you can see, like, we ran into 4 or 5 moose in there, but I was never able to tell because of those dang maples. Like, I was never able to tell what it was or the size of it. And so Tuesday evening, we were pretty pooped after doing all those miles in the woods. And actually, one of my camera guys, or a friend of mine, he was pretty sick. So, and then he was giving it to my other friend, Colby. So Cooper
passing it around camp.
So Cooper came on the hunt feeling sick, and then Colby was starting to feel sick on Tuesday, and he was slowing down like midday when we were out in the just hiking around. And so Tuesday evening we decided, like, we'll just go out into this clear cut we did some scouting in, like get the spotting scope set up and just do some calling and just chill for the evening, hope a bull stepped out. And so we sat out in this clear cut for the evening, and I was not dressed for the occasion at all. Like, I was dressed for walking all day.
Not sitting.
Kind of having to drop some layers because it wasn't too cold, but the evenings drop down.
Oh yeah, as soon as that sun like hits the top of the tree lines, that pressure drops.
Yeah, exactly. So the temperature dropped, and I was not dressed for it, and so like 30 minutes before the end of the day, I told Colby, I was like, let's just get out of here and make a game plan for Wednesday. And go back to camp and get the wood stove going, warm up, get warm, and eat something. And so that's what we did. We left the cut, and we didn't have any action out there. We didn't see any moose. And so we got back in the truck, and the cut was a couple miles from camp, and then just before the road that you turn on a camp road, just right on that corner, there was this big open clear cut.
Yeah.
And it wasn't far from where we'd been hunting that day and then the day before. And so we're driving back to camp and about to turn onto Camp Road, and sure enough, I look over, and
there he is.
It's just 52 inches of bone waving at
Never
me.
pass up an easy one.
No, right. So, and it was funny too, and I'll finish the story, but because I was trying to stay back in the woods and not a heater hunt and stay off the roads, but yeah, this bull ended up coming out into this cut. He was feeding with a cow just before dark.
Yep.
We only had 15 minutes of legal left in the day.
Fire drill.
And
And it's really not good light 15 minutes before
it plays with you.
When I looked over, all I saw was the white palms of this bull. But then when I stepped out of the truck and Colby got out, and it was like we'd practiced it. It worked out perfect. Like, he got the camera on the bull, and I had my gun up, like, ready to shoot, and I was telling Colby, I was like, "Are you ready?" He's like, "No."
Always waiting on the camera guy.
No, and it's like almost too dark to see him on the camera. And then he's like, "Okay, you're good." And I shot, and I guess I hit him right in the hump, right in the spine, and he just
folded up.
Dropped.
That's so
and I was shocked, I couldn't believe it. You'd see the video. Lots of words. My reaction is fully authentic. That is exactly what happened. And then, so we started flying down through this clear cut, and I have no idea how neither of us ate it. Because, I don't know, some of those cuts some of those urban cuts.
Slash is just...
So it's like we were just floating over all of that.
Tigger out.
Because I never looked down. I was looking right in front
Flying
of
on
me.
excitement.
And I was just running down in front of Colby, and I went probably 30 yards to the left of where the bull was laying there. And he's going to the right spot, and he's like, "Jake, it's right here." And so I went over and put a couple more shots in him. Vital shots to finish him off. And it was unreal.
It was awesome.
Like, just thinking, still processing it, and thinking about it. It was an unforgettable experience, that's for sure. But and just the size of them too,
isn't it?
It's unbelievable.
It's pretty awesome.
It's pretty crazy.
And I can't imagine some of the hunts you guys go on where you've got a bull coming at you. And making noise and just wrecking trees.
It's an adrenaline rush, man. That's why we're here.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that, which I've never experienced. I've called in a small bull and he's made his grunts and ran in, but just thinking about a big bull closer than 100 yards away, just standing there, just chowing on some leaves, coming right at you is just it's an adrenaline rush, like you said. But no, it was super cool, unforgettable hunt. And
now, how'd you guys get him out of the woods or out of the cut?
So I planned on quartering a bull because I intended to be back in the woods. And so I brought some cheaper pack frames, and actually a friend of mine, Chris Robinson, he hooked me up with some pack frames and the game bags. Which was really awesome of him, nice of him, and so we ended up quartering this bull. My family was up there just bird hunting. My dad and my uncle and my cousin, and then my mom was up there.
Wow, so you had the whole family there.
But they were all just up there bird hunting, and my mom was about to head towards home, and my cameraman called her and was like, "Hey, pull down,
turn around."
So she came back, she turned around, and she was actually almost 2 hours from us.
Oh wow! Man.
Yeah, and so she drove back. So we had the whole crew there, and they're thinking okay, we got to get a bunch of chains ready, drag this thing out of here. And I was like, no, I'm quartering this bull.
Oh, good for you.
And so I'd been watching a bunch of the videos on it, and
Like the Maine IF&W
I
ones?
religiously watched that one.
Oh, yeah. They did good videos of that.
Yeah, and learned how to do it, and I actually downloaded it, so I had it in my camera roll.
Yeah, so you
could watch it
Yeah,
without service.
exactly.
That's smart, man.
So I got through most of it, and then where you have to pull the tenderloins out from because we did the gutless method.
Oh yeah, that's the best way to do it.
Where you got to pull the tenderloins out from in the rib cage. I pulled up the video just to double check how I was supposed to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we ended up quartering him up, and geez, that's
that's a
I need
twister,
some water.
right? Yeah.
But yeah, so we ended up doing that, and then had, of course, a nice crew to haul him out.
Yeah, right.
But I took one of the hindquarters, which is crazy how heavy just one of those things is, and then I brought out the rack and his head, so it was
awesome.
Super cool.
That's awesome.
And I'm glad I did it too. Like even though he was 100 yards off the road, I wanted to experience it.
Dude, we drop them in the road all the time. We'll do it right in the road. We'll order them up, throw them in the bed of the truck.
I think it's the way
so it's
to
a
go.
shorter pack out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and when you bring it to wherever you're getting it processed, I mean, saves some money too.
Yeah, it's a good deal. It's a good way to do it.
It's a lot better for the meat too.
Yeah.
Get that cape off fast. Get that.
Yeah, it seemed like there were a lot of benefits to it, and that's what I had in mind going into the hunt.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What I wanted to do, no matter what. But yeah, it was unbelievable. It was a super cool hunt.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And nice bull, and he was actually, I just got the tooth sample back, and he was like
just got
9.5 years old.
Oh, nice.
So it's just crazy to think of what that bull has been through in those years.
Yeah.
Just with hunters and winners and everything.
Isn't it crazy how like they can survive so many years and then he gets taken off by somebody in the road?
I know, right? And why would he be standing that close to the road, too?
I mean, I experienced that same thing with the cow hunt this year that I did. You know, she ended up being like 12 years old or something like that.
Man.
But she was, you know, I had to road hunt just because of the clients that I had. And Saturday morning, Rob Mayo, he was in front of me driving. You know, he had already tagged out. Anyways, and same thing. She was just standing on the side of the road with a calf, and we're like, okay. And she ended up being like, she was collared and had ear tags in.
Wow.
So like she had survived so many years like that and should just be taken out on the last day at 8:30 in the morning on the side of the road.
It's
like,
crazy.
And she had never been shot before. She was beautiful.
Yeah, there was
Her
nothing.
mane was great.
There's nothing.
Yeah,
Crazy.
this
Crazy how they
bull-
can survive so long and
It is.
they just get taken out like that.
Yeah, it is. This bull was really healthy too. Like he was like had some blonde on his head and beautiful.
Yeah.
And had 9.5 years old. Just crazy to think of what he's been through. But it feels good too, like knowing it's not like this new bull just getting
Like you
into
took
the
a mature
world,
animal.
but- Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's great.
But it was super cool.
That's a great story. So pretty much going from, all right, we're going to go home, regroup, and, oh my goodness.
Yeah, exactly.
But it goes to show you need to be ready at any time because anything can happen.
And like, it was honestly like, it went so smooth, like getting out of the truck and getting ready. So we were ready for it, but I just didn't expect it to happen. Which I guess it always happens when you least expect it. But and Colby was great. He was there for the entire hunt, and like I said before, he was cooking up breakfast and dinners, and super cool guy. But yeah.
So I went and did like Hal Blood's deer clinic like 4 or 5 years ago, whatever. And Kobe was there with his brother.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I met, and so it was funny once I saw that he was your camera guy. I was like, oh, I know that kid.
So funny.
Yeah. And him and his brother take some awesome deer.
So you know Chris Robinson too, then, right?
Maybe.
He went to the camp with the tracking clinic.
Yeah. Okay. So then probably. Yeah.
Huh. That's funny. Yeah. It's funny how you've got all those connections. Like,
the hunting community is a small world. Man.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah.
I was talking to a guy last night who's out of the Forks, and he actually grew up in the same town that I grew up in, and went to the same schools. He's kind of doing the same thing, and I was like, man, that's so cool. He's like, that makes me proud of to be a Bodenhammer.
It's pretty. So we talk about this all the time, but like small world stuff. Like, so my wife went to school with Nate's wife. And didn't even know
No
that.
way.
I had no idea. I came up here and I came up and helped out for a day. I met Katie before I got taken over by the lake. And we got talking. And she's like, "Oh, you're from the Brunswick area?" She's like, "I'm from Brunswick." And I was like, "Oh, no way." And then we started talking. She's like, "Oh my word, I went to high school with your wife." And I was like, "What a small world."
That's so funny. Yeah, but I do want to say that before the hunt, like something I did miss is this moose hunt podcast. I listen to religiously.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and it's funny to be here hanging out.
Yeah, absolutely. Man.
But yeah, that was super helpful. Like I was talking to Nathan and him out there, just saying how I would take notes, like, and just constantly just trying to master some skills before the hunt.
Oh, definitely. That's great. That's what it's for. That's why we're doing it. Is to get guys informed and hear their stories, and spread the education out there.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's a good passion. But you bring up videoing. I mean, that's not. We try, but when we have a client, like I can't.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah. We even try sometimes with like. Yeah, I can show you a video after we're done of my client trying to shoot his bull this year, and and we have all the time in the world, but like I'm trying to look at all these other moose around. He's taking his shots, and my phone's dipping down. And I'm like all over the place.
That happens all the time. Like I'll be filming like a hunting trip or a fishing trip, and I'll be watching what they're doing, and my camera will just slowly veer away from it. That happens all the time. But yeah, I do a lot of self-filming too. I self-film a lot of my hunts. That's mainly what's on my channel. The Pursuit is self-filmed hunts, which is challenging. It adds a lot of extra time and noise and just a little bit of everything. Gear, like lugging all that in the woods.
Yeah, definitely.
But I enjoy it. I think like it's when you have a successful hunt and you put it together and you share it as a film. It's just you feel like it's that much more of a accomplishment, I guess. Like being able to harvest an animal and then also have it on video as just to document it and have it as a memory like that and share it with everyone. It's cool. That's why I love doing it. Like,
100%.
Like in the beginning, it was just like being able to show my family, like the hunts that I'd been on or whatever, even at just fishing adventures or any outdoor adventure. But so that's like self-filming. It's become a passion of mine.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it's definitely stressful sometimes, and you can miss a lot of opportunities because of it. But I tell people, like, I've talked to people about it who want to get into it, and it's just like telling them that, like, if you're gonna do it, you have to accept, like, one of two things. You're either gonna see this buck of a lifetime and not get the camera rolling in time and just shoot him.
Right.
And realize that may happen, or you're going to see the buck of a lifetime or a moose of a lifetime and get the camera rolling and he's going to walk off. You might get some footage of him.
You missed your moment.
Walk off. And those two things are like very likely to happen, and you just have to be okay with both of the outcomes when you're self-filming. So, and that's what I've realized through doing it. But and for me too, like. And I'm sure with you guys as well, it's like hunting's all about the experience.
Yeah, it's about the event. For me, it's the adventure. It's not always about the kill.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, like with self-filming, I've prioritized the filming side of things because even people watching care more about the experience, especially now with how hunting is. Portrayed. So I just like capturing the experience, and a lot of times it's not about the kill. And I even need to be better at that because a lot of my videos on YouTube are those successful hunts, but I want to share more of the ones that are epic failures.
And that's the thing is like the non-successful ones are pretty relatable for people.
Exactly.
Because it happens. Like everybody has failures.
Especially in the Northeast. Like you don't run into a lot of opportunities.
Nope. And if you don't take it, then you you don't know if it's going to happen.
Right. Yeah. So no, that's a great point too. But and I've always, like since I was young, I've always carried around a camera.
Yeah.
And filmed a little bit of everything, like from bugs to moose. And just loved doing it. And then once I started hunting, like, actually it was my second turkey I ever shot. I had my dad film the hunt with one of my cameras.
Yeah.
So I've just always enjoyed it. And but it's tough. It's a lot of work, a lot of extra work.
Yeah.
And not only during the hunt with all the camera equipment, but just the post-production of it.
All the editing of it.
Exactly, and retelling that story and making it entertaining, and there's so many different, like, little things that go into it, but
So before you started, you said you were making a list of, what did you say, 9 things that you wanted to...
Yeah, 9 or 10.
Nine's pretty weird number.
Yeah, so I came up with a gear list of what to bring if you want to self-film your hunts. And, like, it could be as simple as a phone now. Like, with the quality of video on a phone, if you want to start doing it and don't want to invest a bunch of money into it, just filming on your phone, like, can be really, like, you can make some really awesome videos out of that. But for me, like, I mean, I enjoy the quality and just the options you have with a camera. So, so I could just run through my list.
You took the time to make it. You might as well.
So the first thing, of course, is your main camera, which now I'm running, like what you guys have set up here, the EVZ10 2.
ZVE10-2.
There you go.
That's a tongue twister as well.
R2D2.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's a Sony camera. It's super compact, so for me, self-filming, like, I want a compact build.
Yep. That's the whole reason I bought that one.
And it's user-friendly too. So it's simple to use. There's not a lot of buttons, not a lot of extra features, but it still has that same quality as a professional camera.
Even the auto setting. So I have it on, like, the auto. I don't mess with any of the random, like, bit rates or whatever. Leave it on the auto. Like, it does actually really good for the automatic ISO and stuff. I was super surprised.
Yeah, it does too. And, like, it's funny because, like, I'm super picky with that stuff because I've done professional film work in the past, so I feel like I want to mess with ISO and I want to mess with the f-stop. But self-filming is like, man, I don't have time to crank the ISO. So auto, like, really is the move, and they do great, like, with just the auto. But so it's super, like, compact, like, easy to use, and you can still get that high quality video even with the auto settings. So that's what I use for a main camera right now.
Nice.
And there's a lot of great options.
Is that what your hunt last year was filmed with, or did
the
you do
moose
something
hunt?
Different? Yeah.
The moose hunt was filmed with a FX30, which is the camera that Colby runs.
Okay.
Which is a little more expensive. But still another great camera from Sony. And like, if you're willing to spend the money, I mean, you can go as crazy with it as you want. But I just like keeping it. If I can still get that same quality and what I want with a more affordable, smaller camera, then that's what's worth it to me. So you
and
need
it's not as expensive to replace if you drop it in the water.
Which that's another thing that people should be aware of filming your hunts. That is like that can
busting a lens off if you drop the camera.
No, like filming hunts. You're like, get camera insurance.
They make that?
They do.
All right.
They've got camera insurance.
Because that was not money I wanted to spend.
No, definitely check it out. They do make some camera insurance, and it's worth having because, like, quick side story, I went on a camping trip with my girlfriend last summer, and we were going down a river in a canoe, and I had my camera just out of the case, and we ended up getting stuck on a rock and turned sideways, and the current just flipped the canoe right over.
Geez.
Really?
And I put my camera right underwater. Luckily, it was shallow. And so we were able to flip the canoe back over, ferry across the river. But Yes, I destroyed my camera on that trip, and I did
Side
not
note.
have camera insurance at the time.
That's good.
man.
I'm glad that we did this today. You could have just saved me a grand.
Yeah, I'll send you some information on
that's
it
awesome,
because
dude.
it's good to have. So yeah, you want to start with whatever. I mean, really whatever you can film with, but a small camera like that is great.
Yeah.
That's what I use. And then, of course, the glass is what's most important, so your lenses. So with self-filming, I have like a vlogging lens. So either like a 24-70 or an 18-55 lens.
Yeah, so did you get the kit that came with the 18-55?
Yes.
Yeah, because that's what that is.
So that's what's great about those cameras. If you buy them off, like, did you get it off B&H?
I bought it straight from Sony.
Okay, so like sites like that, they give you the kit options. But yeah, so like a close-up vlogging lens, short zoom, just something that doesn't have the long zoom and you can just film yourself with, then another longer lens to get that animal if it's way out there, like a 70-300 or.
Yeah, I bought a Tamron 18-300.
Yeah, that's what Colby used to film my
dude,
hunt.
I love it. I wish you could use the toggle zoom on your camera to zoom with it instead of by hand, but
So that's
way
a great
cheaper
lens.
than a Sony one.
Oh yeah, Sony lenses get expensive.
I think I paid like $600 for it from B&H.
Yeah.
And it came with like a bunch of like UV filters and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
and that's a great point. Using the Tamron lenses, they're way more affordable. They still do. They're still really great lenses. You've got all the same options that you would with the more expensive lenses. But yeah, so having that long zoom lens and then having the short range lens if you're self-filming to do the vlogs. But even if you're just filming for someone else, interviews and any of that good stuff. So having like 2 to 3 lens options like that is good. And then a lot of batteries. Way more batteries than you think you need. Because like staying in that canvas tent, we did have the ability to charge them once in a while, but when you're out hunting all day long, you're not going to be able to charge up batteries. And in the cold, they die faster. And stuff like that. So having a lot of batteries is important. And batteries, they do add up, but it's good to have more than you think.
Do you ever use any of like the Amazon special?
Stay away from those.
Really? So it's funny. So I bought a 2-pack and it came with like a charging case or whatever. And I've noticed that the Sony battery lasts way longer.
So the Amazon batteries suck, but they do. And like just to be blatantly honest, like it's just like compared to the Sony batteries that you buy with the camera, they really don't hold up like them. And in the elements, it's even worse. But I mean, it's good to have if you can get 3 for the price of 1, and if you're doing something like this, and you can swap them out, then like you can get some of those batteries. But definitely sticking with the name brands will have that long-lasting power. So that's definitely important to have a lot of batteries like that, and then having like your second angle cameras like a GoPro or some sort of action camera. Always good to have, like especially with self-filming, so you don't miss the shot.
Or whatever.
A lot of times you might have something happen with the camera, as you know, like with all the issues you can have with big cameras. Having that second angle rolling just in case, so you don't miss don't miss that one moment, the most important moment. And even having a couple of those, I mean, they're a lot more affordable than the bigger cameras, and a lot of
like I think I just picked up the new GoPro Hero, the Black Hero 13 or whatever it is, and GoPro was having like a 30% sale on it, so I picked it up.
And GoPros, like
$200
you can
or
find
less
them
than
on
that.
Marketplace, all
everybody
over
had
the
one of
place.
those.
Like everyone's got a GoPro, which is great. But they are good to have, and like the newer ones have a lot of awesome features.
They even have like different lenses you can put on them now, just like a regular camera. So like I got like there's like a 4-power zoom one that it kind of totally. Well, I guess you can take out the fisheye by doing the different settings and stuff, but it really like actually looks like you're bringing it into the person instead of having that huge field of view.
Totally.
It is.
No, it's nuts. The GoPros and DJI is actually coming up now. They've got an action camera.
Yeah. They do. Their drones are awesome.
Yeah. So their action cameras are kind of like their drones, like really awesome.
Nice.
They're kind of the up and coming ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of guys like using those. They're a little more expensive, but I mean, I've just had GoPros for a few years now, so it's not worth it to me yet. But having that second angle and then maybe sometimes even a third angle,
if you can.
and they're waterproof, so you don't have to worry about that.
There's one right
A lot,
there.
yeah, exactly. And I do a lot of.
Not everything is totally waterproof.
Yeah,
True.
That's true too, because I put a GoPro in the ocean and forgot to put the cover back on the batteries and corroded and it broke it. So that happens too. But yeah, so like in Maine where we have all the weather conditions. And
we'll have 4 seasons in one day during a moose hunt.
Exactly, you never know. So having a waterproof option is good, even if you don't have the ability to zoom in.
Yeah.
Like I said before, at least you're getting that moment. And the reactions on a second angle.
Well, and especially with like the new GoPros these days, like filming in 4K and stuff, you can get great quality by cropping in and zooming in the footage later.
Right. Yeah, that too. And like I said, the post production it takes up a lot of the time and how a video comes together. So yeah, having those GoPros with you, and then I think this is the 5th thing is a camera arm. If you're filming out of a tree stand.
Oh, you know, like how I've seen like the swivel.
Yeah,
swivel arms?
exactly. Having a camera arm is awesome. For self-filming, it's pretty much required because it's like someone holding on to your camera, having the camera on. So that's good to have. Hunting out of a tree stand, they make some really good ones. I use a more affordable option right now, which is a muddy camera arm. But Fourth Arrow makes some really awesome ones, which I'm going to make the switch over to this upcoming season. But using that, like if you're up in a tree stand or even on the ground too, like instead of setting up a tripod, having it like just strapped to a tree, can be helpful because a lot of times you're leaning up against a tree and whatever it may be. So camera arm's a big one for me, self-filming. And then for containing all your gear and keeping it organized and not losing or forgetting anything, having like a Pelican waterproof case is huge. Being able to pack everything into there before a hunt, or when you're done on a hunt, like once you get all your batteries recharged, putting them back in there. That's huge to have one of those cases. And then also just so you're not breaking something, like having your lenses in there when you're not out in the field. So those cases are great. And then a microphone and making sure, or like a shotgun mic on your camera and making sure it's charged.
Okay, so you use like the battery ones, not just the ones that go off the power when you plug it into the jack.
So yeah, there's different options. The ones you plug into the camera that run off the camera's battery, it's just going to drain your camera's battery faster. I use one that's separate. It's a Rode mic, and it has its own battery. But you have to make sure it's charged because I've had trips where I've lost all audio. And luckily they've been my own. So like a turkey hunt I had last spring, I didn't have the mic charged up. So the entire time, and I had it plugged in, so it wasn't picking up camera audio either.
Oh man.
Yeah, so it was just mute. So a lot of music and sound effects required for that one.
I say that's a really quiet turkey hunt. The guy's not even calling.
Yeah, exactly. So that's important. But having a shotgun at the least is important because then you're getting that better audio. And then the next thing would be having lav mics like these ones, especially hunting because you're whispering a lot. With a shotgun, you're not going to be able to pick up on that. So like for me on the moose hunt, Colby brought these lav mics and had me like wired up to one all day long. So when I was whispering, even if he was a ways behind me, then he'd still pick up that audio.
Yeah,
so
that's what I like
huge.
about these ones. These are the Rhodes, the wireless go-tos, and these. I, as the crow flies, with nothing in the way, I've been down my driveway like over 100 yards. And
Yeah,
it still picks
it's
it up.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it says it can go 200 meters, but in the Maine woods, it's not gonna happen.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're great, and Rode's definitely your best option.
Yeah.
We were actually using the DJI ones,
Yep.
which are super sweet. Like they're really compact, and they've got a sweet little carrying case,
Yeah.
they'll last, I think, 15 to 20 hours,
Yeah,
and you can
that's about what
recharge
these
them in the
ones are,
case. Yeah, so he used those to pick up my audio, and that was huge. I don't use them with self-filming yet. I just haven't made the move to get any, but I definitely will. Like this up.
So the cool, I don't know if the DJI does it, but these ones, you can go plug them into the computer and go to the settings, and you can do backup recording. So right now, these are recording within themselves. They'll record 40 hours each inside of
no
it. So
way.
even if any of the audio right now goes off,
Yeah.
still gonna.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I didn't know that.
yours is
Oh, that's
internally
sweet.
recording, mine's internally recording, his is internally recording.
That's awesome.
So that's just a great feature, and I think I learned that from like Brian Call on the Gritty, Gritty podcast.
cool.
I think I watched one of their episodes, and I was
Heck
like,
yeah, that's
I'm getting
great.
that.
That podcast
That's what
is
I'm
great.
getting.
Yeah, and they're great to have. And I should have them self-filming because honestly, that could help even more than if I were with someone else.
Yeah,
because-
probably pick up your whispering better too.
Exactly.
Than just the shotgun.
Yeah, it does too. And on a windy day, or you've got some weather going on, then you're not going to be able to pick it up. And if your shotgun goes dead, also a lot of times with the ones you plug in, like Sony has, like with these cameras, they've got their own shotgun mic that just plugs directly into the camera's
Yeah, that's
mount.
what that one is right there.
Yeah. So those are awesome because you don't have to worry about bumping the cable. But I bumped the cable before and lost audio that way.
Caught it on a branch while you busted through
Exactly.
some brush.
No, that's the exact thing that happened. I was tracking my buck down 2 years ago, and I caught that cable on a branch, and it popped out. I wasn't, of course, paying attention to that because I'm paying attention to the deer. Yep. So I lost audio through that, but luckily I had my GoPro rolling, and I was able to still make a film about it. So that was
great.
That was huge. But yeah, having all those little things as backup, just in case, is really important. And then having like a peak design clip, so you can hook your camera onto your backpack strap and make it accessible, but also easy to carry. I'm sure they have some other options, but Peak Design is what I use. It's very easy to like clip in, and then you just push a button and it comes right out.
Nice.
Which is awesome. I've got 2 of them on different backpacks that I usually bring into the field. And so that's important, like especially self-filming when you're just walking and then you jump something, you can quickly get your camera rolling,
do it.
or whatever it may be. So having a clip like that, and then of course a tripod, pretty typical to just have a tripod. I try and have a smaller one so I can like strap it into my backpack.
Yeah.
They get big and they get expensive, and like honestly, right now I'm just using the Bosch one from Home Depot.
Perfect. For like a laser level?
Lasers on. Yeah. But they've actually got a really smooth head, and it's not a fluid head, but for some reason it's just, they've got a really smooth head. It's a pretty well-built tripod, and it's way more affordable than some of those.
Some of them can get pretty expensive. So I did a podcast with, have you ever heard of Tracer?
Yes.
So I did a podcast with Tracer last week, 2 weeks ago. I hopped on theirs,
Yep.
and we were talking about all that stuff and everything. And it seems like I think I'm gonna pick up one of theirs and try it out for camera. And one of their new ones that they're releasing is like mainly focused for like gun mounting.
Okay.
Shit like that. So like I
have seen that.
my Cal clients this year, actually in October, client shooting off sticks like the Jim Shockey tripod sticks and stuff like that, but going. All right, folks. Sorry about that. We had some talking about camera stuff. Had some technical difficulties. I'm pretty sure my camera just overheated and shut it off. So
that'll happen.
We're gonna give a wackadoodle again.
Cool. So
I forgot where we left off.
I think I went through everything, but I'll just list everything again. And then if you guys have any questions too, we can chat about it. But yeah, so having a main camera, having the right lenses, close-up lens, long zoom lens, lots of batteries, just in case you don't have the ability to charge them or it's cold and you're constantly putting new batteries in your camera. GoPros for a second angle. Say your main camera overheats.
Yep. Hey, we got 52 minutes out of it.
Yeah, so. Let's go. But like if it's raining out and you don't want to destroy a camera like that, those really aren't waterproof, even though I've had them out in a lot of bad weather. But the GoPros and other action cameras usually are. So having that second angle to use. Camera arm for if you're in the tree and you're self-filming especially. But even if you're filming someone else, just for the steadiness too. Having a Pelican waterproof case or whatever kind of waterproof durable case to store everything in, travel with, keep everything organized, and then charged up shotgun mic, so run it on your camera so you get that audio. They've got them, Sony has them that plug right into where you slide the mic in, or the external cable port. But either of those options are great. And then the Peak Design clip, so that's just a clip that goes on your backpack strap.
Yeah, I actually got one of my beanbag.
Awesome. Yeah, so it's perfect. You just clip your camera on. It keeps it right there, so anytime you're moving and you want it to be accessible, so you don't have to pull it in and out of your backpack, you can use a clip like that. And then just a tripod. It can be super basic, or you can spend a lot of money and get a fluid head and all these fancy carbon fiber, whatever. And then lav mics too, to get that crisp audio when you're whispering or a ways away from someone else. And those are a little out of order of how you may purchase them or how you may get started. But yeah, that's really the main 9 or 10 things that are necessary. But like I said before, to just get started using even just a GoPro or your phone to start filming, and really that's to make sure you're gonna like it and commit to it, because you might get on your first hunt and see that like a big buck moving through or a big bull, and then you're trying to get your iPhone on it and you just get so pissed off and you put it back in your pocket and then shoot it. And then you're probably not going to start filming your hunts.
You're not a filmer.
And also if you don't have prior experience with it, with the post-production, editing, and everything that goes into it, like that's a big part of it. And a lot of people just don't know how to edit, but everyone can learn, and I'd be willing to show anyone how I edit, but
we
that
may
stuff
link up.
too.
Maybe, hey,
I'd love
I'll give you this footage. You can edit this one.
But seriously, like that's a big part of it. So all of that stuff
What do you use?
goes into it.
What program do you use?
For editing video, I use DaVinci.
I've heard of
DaVinci Resolve. So up until this year, I used Adobe Premiere because I use Adobe for Photoshop and Lightroom to edit photos and thumbnails and whatever else. And so I was using Adobe Premiere, but I was using it when I was working for Origin. And I got used to it. I was getting good using it and understanding everything, and just flowing real well with it and in my edits. But then I had a coworker who was using DaVinci because of its color grading and how user-friendly it was, and he was so efficient with his editing, and he's a unbelievable editor. And so I switched over to it this year. And another big thing for me is it's not monthly payments, so it's one time you get it all.
Really?
That's nice.
Which is huge because it's hard to balance all those different Adobe plans and the price of it. So this is like $250 and you get it for good.
That's awesome. I mean, we're even with this podcast stuff, like we have so many different plan stuff that we're doing. Like it's hard to keep track of everything.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's cool. It's just a one-time purchase instead of a monthly thing.
And if we want to jump into the editing thing, like briefly, for music, I use Artlist. So
Okay,
for
yeah,
copyright-free music, I use Artlist. There's a lot of great options on there to put into your video and just add that stuff to it. But yeah, just
So you're saying
all that good stuff.
don't use iMovie?
iMovie's a good place to start.
That's what I'm rolling with.
Yeah.
Wanted to why? Because it
Yeah.
came free on my Mac.
No, iMovie, honestly, like you're able to put clips in there and cut them and export it. Like that's where you start right there. Like, and mess with some audio and change the colors and add effects, and you can do a little bit of everything on there. But DaVinci's, it's still user friendly, but it's a little more advanced, or you can make it more advanced if you want. But yeah, any of those, you can make it work with anything.
Yeah.
But it's kind of preference. It's your experience and skill level with it. It's how you want to pay for it, and all that little stuff that goes into it. But,
I mean, dude, even like what the little video clips that like your phone will put together for you these days.
Yeah.
So like my September hunt, like I mean I hate to say it because it's AI, but AI is going to take all of our jobs from us. But like even my September hunt, like I think I just woke up one morning in October and my phone was like, your trip to Eagle Lake, and I was like, okay, and I watch it and I was like, that was actually a sweet video. Like you put all my all the pictures and videos I had taken all week, put it in it, put music over it, and I was like.
No,
Okay.
it's crazy. A lot of guys use that app.
For people that, like you were talking about with the phone thing, that's what I mean. Like if you just want to start with a phone, like you can actually get a decent clip without doing too much work.
Yeah, no, totally. And a lot of people use that CapCut app, which you could pretty much throw your videos at it and it'll make you something. And even like Instagram has a ton of built-in editing features now, and like different font styles and music, and it's kind of nuts.
Yeah, we were even talking about GoPros, like GoPro's app, like the GoPro Quick app or whatever. Yeah, that same thing. And they actually have it. You can only do it on your phone now. There's no more a website off a desktop.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but that you just upload your stuff into that, and you can just have their system make a video with music over it. Yeah. So I was the other day. I was recording a podcast, I think, about the lottery and the application and stuff, and I was doing some moose chili in the crock pot, and I was like, I'm just gonna record slicing onions, peppers, throwing it in the crock pot, frying the meat up and stuff, and then I threw it in that GoPro app and took it out, and it's like a 90-second clip, and I was like, that's actually pretty sweet. That's how those TikTok people do it.
And like now too with social media, people like the simple stuff. And the quick, 10, 15-second clips, but it could be just right on your iPhone. It's crazy. Like some of the videos for me that have blown up are just the quick clips, like where I've been out in the woods doing something, and I'll flip the camera around and just record a quick video. And stuff like that people enjoy.
They love it.
Yeah, but I still love the long form movies. Like YouTube, that's what I do on the week. Like Saturday mornings, the kid and I will just sit there in the chair and watch YouTube. I could just say I watched your bear video the other morning.
That was a fun hunt too. But YouTube's awesome, and I hope people continue to enjoy the long form videos because that's what I love to make. Honestly, I'm not really into doing like the reels and the shorts.
Same.
I love retelling the entire experience.
That's it right there.
And making a film, whether it's cinematic or simple or however it comes out. But that's really where it's at for me. So I hope people continue enjoying stuff.
Well, you're pretty good at it.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. And I've just always,
pleasure.
I've always loved doing it, and just through time, of course, picked up new skills and tried to get better and stuff like that. I always like hunting. I'm always wanting to learn more.
Well, you're always learning, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Always.
You are always learning.
Yeah, so it's pretty comparable to hunting with that, like always learning more and always finding new things you thought you knew but you don't know, and just all that stuff. But I appreciate it though.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before we get off, why don't you tell people where they can find you?
Heck yeah.
Socials, whatever, YouTube, whatever. So.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so I've got a YouTube channel, The Pursuit Hunt, where I self-film my hunts. little bit of everything on there, just pretty much anything I do in the Northeast.
Yeah.
There you go.
And it's very Maine based, and I try and keep it that way.
Yeah.
But and then on social media, the same thing, the Pursuit Hunt.
Okay.
And yeah, that's where you can find me and watch all
Sweet,
the
yeah.
good
I'll
stuff
put
on
all
there.
that in the description.
Yeah, no, I
People can click
appreciate
on
it.
Yeah,
so.
no.
But yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah,
on.
absolutely.
Man,
Yeah,
you're
glad
coming,
to have you on. It's this is a topic that we've wanted to go over for
it's
a
great
while,
to have
and,
somebody-
and I found out that you. Well, actually, I think we linked up because. So I'm a carpenter by trade. I have a
Right.
building company,
Yeah.
and I was like, I feel like this dude lives close to me because somehow I ended up following your carpentry page or something, and I was like, people were blowing me up about small projects, and I was like, I don't want to do those. So I'll forward them to this cat,
Yeah.
and then I was like, let's get on and talk about hunting and stuff. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
No, and I'd love to hop back on and continue this conversation.
absolutely.
And talk
Definitely.
more, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, I appreciate it. And
Yeah.
like I said before, I was listening to this thing before my hunt religiously, just taking notes and trying to learn how to be a better moose hunter. So
Yeah, same.
Super cool.
I started listening to the podcast before really I even knew what OMM was, and then I reached out to OMM and came on the team because of the podcast.
no way,
So,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
super
All comes
cool.
full circle, dude.
It sure does.
Yeah,
sure does,
cool,
man.
man. Awesome. Well, hey, everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but as you can see, it happens. So, with that, take care and God bless.